You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back, episode 47. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's been that long. Oh, yes, claps all around, zoners. We got a lot going on tonight. So, without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callahan, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way from Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Vault, the Shield. What's going on, Shield?
Dude, I have no idea what day it is, what time it is. It's that time between Christmas and New Year's. You don't even know if you're supposed to go to work or not. All I know is I think it's Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. We've got some stuff to give away. And, of course, we've got the show. Super excited about tonight.
Pretty much. And I am as well. And the zoners, they know about the big news at noon today. We posted that it is a giveaway time, people. Okay? And I think people would like to win something like this, a MinneZona bumper sticker, okay? So I think people are going to want this. And you better be ready, because I got my question ready to go, because we're starting things out. I mean, look at what Voldy's got right there. It looks fantastic, and just,
Oopsie.
Oh, I guess there's extras in there.
Preview of the goods.
Preview the goods. There's more to where that came from, folks. So anyway, Voldy, let's get things started off with some tater tot. Hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
Yes, it is fresh out of the oven, and it is time. It is, I mean, this is pretty fresh, for one.
That it is.
Because, I mean, we got so many cool things with these bumper stickers. You can have a chance to win this, like, right now, because we're going to get started with it. So,
right now.
We'll let the zoners, we'll give the zoners some time. Obviously, you need to comment in your answer. I have our table topic ready to go. And I made it easy for the zoners, Voldy, because we've actually talked about this before, and I've given this fact before on the previous whatever show it was. So, if I bet the zoners have their laptops and or cell phones ready to go, and if they're able to get this question before, I mean, the first comment that pops up is gonna get it. Okay?
It's going to win.
It's going to win. So.
It has to be the right answer, too.
And it has to be the right answer. Exactly. So, without further ado, it looks like we got about 7 people waiting for the question here. So, let's get it going.
Waiting with bated breath.
Yes. So, be ready. Here we go. Okay? This is the trivia question. What was the best-selling NBA jersey in 2012? In 2012, it was a great year.
Great year.
What was the best-selling NBA jersey in 2012? Comment away if you get it right. First person that gets the right answer gets this. Okay, we'll send it off to you. Really simple, not too hard. But Voldy, I believe you already have put in a bumper sticker on one of your. What was it again? Tell me.
I got a brand new planner for the year. I got to remember all the crap I got to do. So I put on one of the smaller ones. I didn't want to use the big one. But
okay.
I got my stockpile of of the stickers that we got. So I got a few ideas of where some of that stuff's going to go. Yeah, there you go.
The mini.
One of the little guys.
Yeah,
yep. I'll probably put the bumper sticker on the car since I had to get a new bumper last year because some guy that I worked with ran into the back of my car and had to get a new bumper, which took off the wall drug bumper sticker. Completely pissed about that.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, well, Voldy, that's why we got this going. Intern guy, former intern guy. Jeremy Lin. Close. That is close, though. Because guess what? He's number 2. Oh, intern guy. You got a little greedy.
Loser.
But anyway, that was close, though. Intern guy was close. Former intern guy. But I gotta say, the small ones, then there's window decals. So just remember that.
Yeah.
Window decals we have here, and you can check them out as well. We might be doing a giveaway for these. You never know. All right, Metzler says Anthony Davis. Wrong.
Wrong again.
You got to think. I might have to start giving clues. If we start getting a lot of wrong answers, I might have to start giving clues. So keep looking away. And if you don't know it yet, you still might have a chance. Okay, we got more people tuning in, so I'm going to relay the question again for people that might be just tuning in. What was the best-selling NBA jersey in 2012? I know you guys have your cellular devices. I know you have your laptops and everything like that. It's not too hard, all right? It is not Anthony Davis. I don't think, it's not on the list. It might be close, though. It might be close. So.
Probably at least top 10.
Yeah, I'd say, probably top 10.
It was up there.
Yeah. So, we got, what's the question? Tyler!
Dang it, Knutson.
All right, here we go. Best-selling NBA jersey in 2012. The best-selling NBA jersey in 2012.
Go.
Okay?
Answer the question.
Go on the internets. Uh-oh. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner! The intern guy got it right.
Winner.
Intern guy gets the MinneZona bumper sticker. Former intern guy. Props to you. But this was, again, this was Derrick Rose #1 for the Bulls. Okay, so this was when and then obviously he had the MVP season and then dropped off. But Tyler Knutson says Rondo. It's not far off, but yeah, Rondo, no go. So intern guy will be getting this. Where is he going to put it? I don't know. The guy's getting married in the summer, and maybe he'll put it on his coat for his wedding. I'd really appreciate that. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Free advertising.
At least I can win this since I can't win in fantasy. That's true. He actually had 160 points this week too, which that's a bummer because he was in the losers bracket like me. So, congratulations to Trevor Service, former intern guy, and again, we're gonna have more of these. Okay, we're gonna start off the show with more of these again. So. I will be sending that off to intern guy. I'll probably see him soon at some point. So intern guy will get this free MinneZona bumper sticker. And remember, you can buy these too. Just let us know and we'll get them to you. Will Rattel has these. The Barbell nerds. Okay, he's selling them for $2. We'll talk to you about prices later on. But congratulations to intern. All right, so that will start. That's technically our first story, Voldy, with Tater Tot Hot Take. It was it was pretty hot because, again, we're giving out free stuff. So it's so much fun. But let's get to the nitty-gritty. Voldy, we are talking about basketball. I know this isn't your I mean, not the biggest sport, but the Gophers, man, they are kicking butt right now. They not only did the Gophers take number 4 Iowa, and then, as you said, hashtag who hates Iowa, like a lot of Minnesota Golden Gopher fans say as well. I mean, here we go, Voldy. They're 8-1. They beat them in double OT. And then all of a sudden they play Michigan State and they wallop them. Absolutely, positively wallop them. And, I mean, who would have thunk they would take on a Tom Izzo team and just mop the floor with them? And one thing that I want to bring up is how good is Marcus Carr. That guy has 24 points on the season so far, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, he's shooting 48% from field goal range. I mean, he is kicking ass out there. But for one, I will say he's definitely doing a better job than Ricky Rubio. Moving on. But I will say that there's one other guy that's been playing really well. And a lot of teams have this. They usually have a nice big guy. Okay, like the Garza for Iowa and whatnot. And they have that with Liam Robbins right now. He is averaging 6.8 rebounds per game, and he's averaging 2 blocks per game. This guy has been a great player for the Gophers, and that's what they need right now, is someone that can control the paint, get down on the block, and score. He's averaging 13 points right now. This is what we need to have for the Gophers, and this is a lot of people are questioning Patino a little bit, Voldy, and that's something that a lot of people kind of were thinking, oh, maybe it's time for him to be fired or let go. No, just let him get his guys, see how it goes. This isn't something to where you can just be like, oh, one bad season, see ya, like we're going to get into that later. But Tyler says yes. I don't know if he's saying yes to intern guy winning that or saying yes to the Gopher basketball. Johnson was the MVP of the Iowa game. Yes, he was. He was absolutely the MVP, Brandon Johnson. And it's good to see the Gophers playing well. So, Voldy, I got to ask. I know this, Gopher, you follow Gopher basketball very closely. No.
Right.
But, I mean, what are your thoughts on them starting out 8-1 and your thoughts on Marcus Carr? I mean, this guy is damn good. 24 points a game.
Right.
What do you think?
I think it's about time. Obviously, we can see the Gophers pick up a couple of nice ranked victories in the Big Ten. Let's see where it puts them, now going further in the season. As, of course, they do take on Wisconsin tomorrow night. Tomorrow afternoon, I should say, for a little New Year's Eve basketball. That'll certainly be quite the matchup as well. 2 big wins, now 2-1 in the Big Ten. That's certainly a good start to the year. Marcus Carr is going to have to be the guy for them because of the fact it's always been one guy for the Gophers. It was Daniel Oturu. It was Amir Coffey as well when he was playing for the Gophers. Those guys are now playing in the NBA. They're playing for the Clippers. They played last night against the Timberwolves and, stonked the Timberwolves as usual. But I look at this overall. I think it's a great start. Now let's just see how long it can go on. Obviously, you played 10 games. And, 7 of them were against non-conference opponents. Sure, it really pads the stats pretty well. And, Richard Pitino's been talking about how that game over St. Louis was a tough one. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a team that's going to be in the, the NCAA tournament at the end of the year. But, it doesn't quite scream the same when you beat like an Ohio State and Indiana or even a Wisconsin as well, those perennial guys that are going to be at the top of the Big Ten and playing for, spots in the Elite Eight, the Final Four as well. But, I mean, it's off to a great start. Let's just see if they can keep the momentum going. It does help that they do have a little bit more experience coming off the bench as opposed to other years where it was 3 guys, maybe 4 guys in the starting lineup, and behind them were a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah.
So, those guys that have stuck around for a couple of years, they have gotten a couple of graduate transfers this past year as well. So those guys do have the experience. It's just going to play out very well going down in the second half of the year to see how far that depth of the bench can play for the Gophers.
Yeah, and that's the big question with the Gophs. And their schedule coming up here, Voldy, is, it's brutal. Wisconsin, ranked Ohio State, number 25, ranked Michigan, and you play Iowa. And let's be honest, Iowa's going to want some revenge here coming up on January 10th. So, it's going to be tough sledding. And I think the one thing that kind of turned things a little bit is when they lost to Illinois and they got killed. It was 92-65. I think a lot of it is just kind of thinking, well, if this is how it's going to be, then I don't know if I like this. Which is, it's tough. Especially going up against a really good team like that. And the Big Ten for basketball is probably, I will say, probably one of the most competitive conferences in the NCAA. And when you're going up and you're beating the teams that are, like Michigan State, Iowa is always in it. Ohio State, it depends on the year. Wisconsin's always good. Michigan has been really good as of late these past couple of years. But I think Pitino is doing a great job. Like you said, Arturo, Coffee, those guys were kind of the centerpiece for the Gophs. And with them leaving, it was a little bit of a struggle because, again, you gotta build up some of these guys. Arturo is going to the NBA, and you got to think of things like that. And it would just think if he would have stayed, how good they would be. And they're very good. And the emergence of Robbins and Carr. Carr's just been on fire. Let's just hope this can keep up. And I think there's going to be bumps in the road. Don't get me wrong. This team's going to have some bumps in the road, but I feel like they're going to be able to have a lot of success this year. And it's good to see because, I'm looking at some of the other teams that they'll play. Rutgers is good this year. You think, Rutgers, well, that's an automatic. They're actually pretty good, and I've actually seen them play a little bit. And Northwestern's another team in there. But after you get past the the Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa, Michigan again, oh my God, that is just a brutal stretch. But if you can get out of that, let's say 3-3, 3-3, 4-2, something like that around there.
Right.
That'll be successful. And again, anything can happen. Tyler says Gabe needs to pick it up though. Yeah, Kalsher. I haven't heard much with Kalsher in a while either. And the thing is,
that's the problem.
Yeah, and he has been the spark plug. For them. When his freshman year, for God's sake, he was hitting threes left and right. We need more from Kalsher. And I think that's going to come, and I think Pitino's going to get him going because they need him. And if they're going to be successful in the Big Ten, that's what they need to do. So, big game against Wisconsin tomorrow, and it kind of sucks, though, because it's at Wisconsin. So it's gonna be tough. Obviously, we get the no fans thing, but no matter what, it's tough playing over against Wisconsin. So totally. I think it's going to be interesting, and I really like what I'm seeing from this club right now. Let's see what happens as the season goes on because you can start 8-1, then all of a sudden you can. The Gophers they started off really good one year with I think it was Tubby Smith, and then all of a sudden they just when they got to Big Ten play, they're getting destroyed left and right. So let's hope. We're keeping our fingers crossed that the Gophs can just keep ripping off wins here, and we'll see what happens. So, go Gophers! And yes, it's not Gopher men's hockey Voldy.
Thank God.
So we won't go there. But the schedule has come out for Gopher hockey, the next set of games. So we will definitely keep you posted on that, and we'll probably have it for Tater Tot Hot Take at some point. So
We'll see.
and then UND as well. So we got to make sure we got that for Voldy. All right, Voldy. I got to get to something here. And we all watched, or well, maybe depending on who we are, we all kind of saw the Vikings game, Christmas Day, taking on the Aints. Alvin Kamara destroyed the Vikings defense, and as much as I hate to say it, Sean freaking Payton. They got the win against the Vikes. The Aints beat us. But there's been a lot of chit-chat lately, Zoners. And there's been a lot of chit-chat about hashtag fire Zimmer. Okay? Now, I'm one of the people that is against that right now. Okay? And I'm going to explain that here because we're doing Callahan's School of Logic. So let's get it rolling. I got a lot to talk about with this. Here we go.
Class is in session. You're enrolled in Callahan's School of Logic.
All right, Voldy, you ready for this?
Let her rip, Chief.
Let her rip. All right, so this is something that has been kind of eating at me for a little bit because there are a lot of Vikings fans that want to see Mike Zimmer fired. And here's kind of my reasoning towards that. There's a lot of things that have happened in 2020. COVID, having to deal with injuries, things like that, you know. Now, there are some things I do agree with people on, and I feel like that need to be addressed about Zimmer as well. But I believe if you want to pinpoint things that have happened, that have gone bad, you can pinpoint, you know, NFC Championship game, you know, he can't, like, time management, things like that. But let's kind of just start off with what I think, okay? A lot of people think that, you know, it's his fault that they lost that game against the Saints. Well, it's every single one of those guys' faults, okay? For one, is it Mike Zimmer's fault? Let me ask the Zoners too. Is it Mike Zimmer's fault that Kendricks got hurt? Is it Mike Zimmer's fault that Daniil got hurt? I'm going to get to Daniil in a second. Rudy, I mean, when you're missing guys like that, and when you're missing a pass rush, that's what's going to happen. 6 touchdowns are going to happen. And yes, it's a great feat, but you're going up for the Aints, you're going up against a JV defense, even going in, okay? Now, the next thing I want to mention, too, is that you really should have expected this going into this game because there was this game was going to be high scoring because you're out Kendricks, you're out Todd Davis, who was in his place, you're out Troy Dye, who's been playing more. And then you're picking up practice squad players to play and come in and fill in, okay? And let me talk about a couple things here. Blake Lynch was an undrafted free agent playing for them, okay? And this needs to be something that, I mean, this is something that really ticks me off. And you can't expect them to do anything with the personnel that they have, okay? And it's frustrating to me why this always has to be, you know, oh, it's Zimmer's fault because they didn't get to X, Y, and Z and whatnot. No. Okay? This is something to where if you are the Minnesota Vikings and you have undrafted rookies playing out there, you have corners playing out there, you have, you know, corners that haven't played a lot but, you know, are still getting used to the game. I mean, well, I guess you could say Gladney's played a lot, Dantzler, you know, things like that. But is it Mike Zimmer's fault that they missed all those tackles? I mean, can't believe that people want to sit there and say that, oh, it's Zimmer's fault that they're not doing any good form tackling. You've been playing football for how long? These guys are playing football for how long? You should know how to tackle, okay? And they didn't do that. Anthony Harris, I mean, what the hell, man? I mean, you just forget how to tackle now? You're a safety. You're supposed to know that. And, you know, Harry had some misses too, and Papa Callahan even mentioned it as well. But what's frustrating to me is that people want to pinpoint that's Zimmer's fault. You kidding? That's Zimmer's fault? You should know how to properly form tackle, okay? And it's the coach's job to get them ready and everything like that. But when you have guys that don't go out there or like have limited playing time, like James Lynch and, you know, Eric Wilson, I mean, he has his good, he's had a good year. He's had a good year. But again, he was pretty much non-existent in that game. And there was bad form tackling, things like that. Now, it's one thing to say, well, he's got to come up with the game plan. I'm sure he did come up with the game plan. The guys didn't execute, people. The guys did not execute, okay? Now, is Zimmer on the hot seat? A lot of people, you know, have been kind of mentioning that, rational people, I should say. Into 2021, yeah. I mean, you cannot miss the playoffs next year. And I'm going to say this right now. They don't make the playoffs, Zim's gone. And if he doesn't get to that point, then yeah, it's time. It may be time to clean house. I love Zim. I love Spielman. But if they don't make the playoffs next year, especially with the talent that they have, and hopefully with some guys coming back that can change, it doesn't make any sense. Now, Zimmer lost 6 linebackers, 3 defensive linemen. You lose Daniil, you lose Michael Pierce, you lose, you know, a lot of depth at safety for one. If next season is a dud, yeah, like I said, it's time to clean house. Now, let me say this: is Zimmer in the clear on this? No, you can't. I understand the frustration. Okay, poor time management with Zim is one thing. And Zim is a little too blunt. And we all can agree on that. I feel like some things he needs to kind of, you know, not be too blunt on, you know, calling out people and things like that. Losing record versus winning teams. That's something you got to look at too. Solidifying the O-line. And Voldy, you and I both know with the Kerf Doctor, it is very, very, you know, important to solidify that O-line. So yep. I feel like they've been kind of off that a little bit too. But getting back to some of Daniil's tweak. Yeah, so it's a tweak, huh? No, it wasn't a tweak, Zim. I mean, you had a plan. Now, you had people believing that Yannick Ngakoue and Daniil Hunter were going to be on the same field and just create havoc. No, that was a replacement for Daniil because they knew that this was going to be prolonged. Okay? And for one, it's frustrating to see that. Michael Pierce opting out is another thing, too. And, you know, everything with injuries, you can't expect Zim to, you know, pull all these guys from off the street, off the practice squad to just know everything and go from there. Ask Kendall Hinton, for God's sake. Okay? And, okay, the NFC Championship blowout against the Eagles. He was outcoached in that game, and I'm not going to shy away from that because he was. And last year's divisional round against 49ers. I mean, they ran the ball down our throats. And you can't let them off the hook with that. And I understand that. But that's why you wait a year to see if you have a healthy defense. And if they don't make the playoffs and everything's bad, you could even fire them in the middle of the season. After the season. Okay? Now, let's not, you know, keep bashing. I mean, one other thing I need to talk about, too. The co-defensive coordinator thing. I don't think it works, to be honest with you.
No, it doesn't.
I don't like it. I love Andre Patterson. And Adam Zimmer has done a great job. But I feel like there's got to be one guy. There has to be one guy, okay? There absolutely has to be one guy. Now, it's something that they need to address, and they have to address it. Now, let's not be hasty to fire somebody and then just say, I mean, he's taken us to the playoffs, okay? He's finally won those playoff games, against the Minneapolis Miracle, the 2019 wild card round. You beat the Aints, okay? Now, another thing I want to bring up too is he has the respect of the players, okay? He has the respect of the players. From Kendricks and guys like that, obviously with Diggs, that's a different deal because Diggs was Diggs, okay? Now, a lot of people think, he has had a pretty doggone good record with the Vikings too. He's won games. The defenses have been great when healthy, and offenses have been pretty good as well, okay? Now, he hasn't had the great... I'm not saying that he's the greatest coach in Vikings history. The greatest coach in Vikings history is Bud Grant, and that's no one can contest with that. But to agree with the hashtag Fire Zimmer crew, Voldy, he's definitely going to go into the hot seat in 2021 because you need to make the playoffs or else you're gone. And that's how the NFL is. So this is a make-or-break year for Zim. And not only Zim, I think it might be for Spielman as well. So you got to put that into perspective. Now, this game coming up against the Lions doesn't matter. Okay? Does not matter whatsoever.
No, it does not.
So anyway, I'll get your thoughts in a second, Voldy, but I got to get to our zoners because U of M hockey is 8-0, ranked number 1 in the nation. Hockey is arguably the quintessential Minnesota sport. Gopher hockey needs to be talked about, period. We already talked about Gopher hockey. I don't know.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we already.
I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'll talk about it.
Yeah, you might not be happy, but he'll talk about it, and we actually talked about it a couple shows ago, so you might have to look back in the archive there. Let's see if this pops up. Here we go. Holy cripes. Coaches ban in any sport. When the players lose confidence and stop listening to them, then the coach needs to go. It's got nothing to do what they have or haven't done. The GM will make that choice when they deem it's appropriate, but it's rarely the case where the coach is the problem. Sure, there have been exceptions, but by and large, it's a measure of how long a team will listen to a coach. Exactly. And the thing is I feel like Zim does have the respect of those guys, and Ethan beautifully talked about how that's the case. Now, it's one thing, but the thing is you got to make the playoffs. You have to make, and you have to make a deep run too. Okay, there's too much talent on this team. Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Cook, you name it. And the logic in this, folks, is Zimmer's not the problem. Okay, he's not the problem. We've had unlucky breaks, but again, there are games that they should have won. They should have beat Dallas. They lost to Dallas. Okay, they should have beat Seattle. They lost to Seattle, okay?
They did.
Now, can you put that all on Zim? No. You have to put that on the whole team, okay? And you can't look and say, well, we know we're getting from Zimmer, and he doesn't know what he's, doing. Yes, he does. He knows what he's doing. The time management thing, Zim needs to figure that out because that has been long, long overdue with the timeouts and that issue as well. So read into it however you want. Voldy, what are your thoughts?
None of this is Zimmer's fault.
Yeah.
If they fire Mike Zimmer at the end of the year, you are setting back the Minnesota Vikings at least another 5 years.
Yep.
And a lot of these players that have been with the team don't have 5 more years. Some of them are already in the second half of their careers. Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr, now with the tweak to Daniil Hunter, he's already in the second half of his career. Kirk Cousins is still going to get paid regardless.
Yep.
Yeah, you're seeing the upside of Justin Jefferson right now. Dalvin Cook's probably not got a whole lot of years left on those legs. Adam Thielen as well. You're looking at the back half of the careers of these guys that want to win right now. And Mike Zimmer is the guy to steer the ship in the right direction. The defense took a hit this year. There's no question about that. It's because of the fact it's a byproduct of everything that's happened. Kendricks, Barr, Daniil Hunter as well. The entire defensive secondary, plus or minus Mike Hughes, who has been hurt all year, pretty much gone for, except for Harrison Smith and Anthony Harris. Those two guys have been picking up the slack. Harrison Smith is flagged as soon as he steps on the football field for being a football player. Anthony Harris can't tackle anymore, and he's playing on that franchise tag. And, well, let's just say that money's probably not going to be coming to him any more than what he's getting paid for this year. This is all a byproduct of what has happened in 2020. Everybody thought it was going to be the Vikings year. Sadly, it's not. Now, do we want to go back to the last time this was a big problem with Brad Childress and how everything kind of set back? Again, 3 to 4 or 5 years. You had Leslie Frazier for that short little span. Great defensive coordinator. Horrible head coach. Some coaches are like that. A lot of great coaches have been great coordinators. Not so great head coaches as well. We go through a whole list of those guys. Mike Zimmer finally getting his chance as a head coach. Yes, it's been 5+ years under the helm of Zimmer, and, well, it was bound to have a bad year. I think this is the worst year that he's had since I think it was like 2014, 2015, one of his first couple of years with the Vikes, and it's just been bad to see. And it's unfortunate. 3 years ago, they're playing for the NFC Championship with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. You go to the playoffs, you're another couple of games away from the NFC Championship, and unfortunately, the better teams won. Philadelphia won the NFC Championship. They were the better team. They had a better defense. They had a better offense. They were the hot hand. San Francisco was unstoppable last year, and, well, now this year they can't keep guys healthy to save their lives, and guys are already quitting. I'm hearing nothing about the lack of confidence in Zimmer. That is what is keeping me interested in the fact that he's definitely going to be around for next year. I just don't see why there is so much backlash. I actually want to hear why people don't think that Mike Zimmer is going to stay the Vikings head coach. I want to hear from our zoners and the hashtag Fire Zimmer crew about why they think Zimmer needs to go, why he is the issue, and who they think should be taking this team and basically going back to square one and looking at 3, 4, 5 years down the road before we'll see any solid success for the Vikings. I just want to hear it from our people.
Yeah, I want to hear it from our people too, because I was tuning in to, I think, one of the press conferences, and all people are writing down all these things. And apparently, for some reason, there's one guy that I put a comment on there, Voldy, and I think it was something along the lines of, you people don't understand that, Zim's not the problem. It's pretty much people like them that think you can just get rid of people and then everything's going to be hunky-dory. Like you said, and I've said on multiple occasions, Voldy, this will set the team back 5 years, and maybe even more. Easily. And it's like, well, we could do this, this, and this. It's like there's no logic to go about this and think it's going to be seamless. Okay, I know people want Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy is probably not coming to Minnesota. Okay, if they fire him. If they fire Zim, then they're probably going to look at him and probably be one of the top guys. But I feel like after this offseason, Eric Bieniemy is going to be gone from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's going to be with some other team, and he deserves it. I hope he does. Yeah, I hope he does too. He deserves it. Now, the fire Zimmer people just look at this and just don't understand fully what this is going to. There is no head coach like Zim I would want right now.
Exactly.
And you might not even get Bieniemy if that's the case, okay? And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And if there's people that, and again, I don't have anything against the hashtag Fire Zimmer people, because I don't necessarily disagree on some facts, but I disagree that why would you just do this right away after everything that's happened in this year, and all of a sudden you want to make a change? No, It doesn't make sense. There's no logic in it. I say, let's see how next year goes. If they don't make the playoffs, it might be that time. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And that's all Voldy's saying here, too. So, but anyway, I think that'll wrap things up for that. And again, zoners, if you disagree with that, that's fine. If you agree with it, then yeah, let's talk about it. So, Voldy, let's move on to our favorite segment. Your favorite, my favorite segment, the zoner's favorite segment. It's called Absurd or Approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it's time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle it off for us, please?
Well, it hasn't been a very good week for now former Washington football team quarterback Dwayne Haskins. Well, this past Sunday, he was benched in a loss to the Carolina Panthers. And, well, after that, he had been demoted behind a player that was signed to the practice squad less than a month ago. And before that, he had been stripped of his captaincy after photos popping up at a gentleman's club. And, well, the icing on the cake with the candles being lit is that he was released by the Washington football team. In a report that was put out earlier this week, I believe on Monday, of course, Coach Ron Rivera and Haskins talking things over, thinking that it is the best for both parties, considering of course, what has happened in the last week plus for Dwayne Haskins and his 2 years, only 2 years in the NFL, and he's already getting released by the team as well. And, well, it certainly puts him in an interesting situation for old Dwayne Haskins that he is now out there for the world to see. Absurd or approved, the Washington football team letting go Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, it's got my stamp of approval. And for one, I mean, if Voldy, you shared that post, and I couldn't help but, take a look at it as we get our stamp of approval here. I'm trying it out. It's been a while. Hey, it actually worked that time. But anyway, yeah, I know. It's going to take a while to get it back to where I want it. Oh, perfect. But anyway, stamp of approval, what an idiot. And I feel like, Dwayne Trashkins, and I got to make a statement here, Voldy, because I think this is very important, because Dwayne Haskins will be on the infamous list coming up here, either on my list or your list, probably the Zoner's list. So you can book that one right now, because what an idiot. And here's the thing. He goes to a strip club. You are a quarterback in the NFL. You are actually somewhat well known because you're a first round pick, and you make a decision to go to a strip club, and oh, by the way, not even wear a mask. Yep. And then you're posting all, well, I don't think he posted, but I believe that it was caught by whoever caught the pictures and things like that. And then to find that these women or strippers were wearing his Dwayne Haskins jersey. Are you stupid? What are you doing? It's just so, oh my God. And Stuffage just says it right here. I laughed when I saw him being released. Johnny Manziel 2.0, question mark. More on that in a little bit in ARA. But, oh my God, what an idiot. And I know I've said this a lot, but he was saying when he got drafted, when the Giants passed on him, and I believe they took Daniel Jones, if I'm not mistaken, and he said, I'm going to make them regret that. Absurd statement much? That's good. And he goes into that game, and Ron, because they have no other choice but to start him after this whole, ordeal, and he throws, 2-3 interceptions or something like that. He gets sacked a bunch of times. I mean, what the hell? That's why he is now known as Dwayne Trashkins, because he basically screwed. He was only in Washington 2 years. 2 years. And he makes a decision. And this was not only his first violation of COVID protocol, but his second. His second. Frustrating as hell. But you know what? I bet Ron Rivera's like, thank God I got that guy out of here. And then he says, the quintessential, oh, everything's good. I'm going to be better. And well, you better be, man, because you're on a short leash now. So, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. Ron Rivera, I applaud him for just saying, no, you're done. They put in Heineke, and Heineke actually did pretty good. Former Viking
Taylor
as well.
Heineke.
So Taylor Heineke, yeah, props to him. But, Dwayne Trashkins, you're an idiot. Just saying. Voldy, what do you think?
I mean, it's got my stamp of approval. I kind of saw the writing on the wall, not this season, but actually last season. Like one of his first spot in his first couple of starts with the Washington football team, leads a comeback victory, gets all amped up, and the team gets the ball back in like the final seconds or whatever, just has to take a knee. He's not even out there taking the knee. They had to take Case Keenum to take the knee because he was over taking selfies, high-fiving fans and whatever. This was last year, and I'm just like, okay, I know you're all up in the moment and everything, but you still got to finish the game before you start doing all of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, this week plus has not been in favor of, Dwayne Haskins. Something about Ohio State quarterbacks that just probably aren't getting a whole lot of positive details right now, especially the last couple that have come out of the Ohio State University. And, well, there's another one that's amping up towards the top of the draft board as well. May want to hold off on maybe picking that guy. But, it's got my stamp of approval. The fact that obviously nothing seemed to went right. He was set up on a high pedestal. Of course, he's from the Washington area. He's got, a lot on his side too. And, well, unfortunately, just didn't live up to expectations. And, well, he fell hard. Yeah, let's just see where he ends up coming here in the next year or so. Maybe a team will pick him up. I don't know.
Watch all the Feimer Zimmer people say, maybe you should go and get Dwayne Haskins or something like that. Oh,
I saw somebody put that out.
You're kidding.
Somebody literally said, I'm just going to answer this question now with a picture of Dwayne Haskins and said, no.
Good. For a second there, I thought they were actually serious. And if they were serious, I was about to walk off the show for a little
that's
bit.
the first thing I thought of, too. I was like, oh, maybe we should pick up Dwayne Haskins. I'm just going to answer this question now. No.
There we go. Hell no. But, Trashkins, he is on the infamous list. He will probably be up there. And, just breaking news for you there. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, if the New York Jets were in the driver's seat looking for the number one pick, well, not only do they crash the car, the thing is impounded. It is being turned into a metal cube, and the New York Jets will not be picking number one. Couple of wins last couple of weeks has assured them the number 2 spot in the NFL draft coming up in 2021. And, well, there are some interesting areas that you can go with the number 2 pick as well. Of course, it's looking like the consensus number 1 pick. If he chooses to go to pro, that being Trevor Lawrence, then that brings up where do the Jets go with that number 2 pick. Obviously, there are a few areas that they could go. They could start over at quarterback. There are many areas. The best non-quarterback is what I was trying to say. Or maybe, quite possibly, ponder that pick and maybe ship it elsewhere as well. Where do you think the Jets will go with that number 2 pick?
Ooh, now that's a good question, Voldy, because there's a lot of zoners, and I feel like this was very controversial, and I think Seymour was definitely in on this too. Like, they're saying, Adam Gase is a great coach and everything like that. I think it's as a joke saying he's doing a great job tanking so that they can be better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But here's my rebuttal to that is now that they're winning games, I mean, again, they beat the Rams, which is very surprising. And, people are cheering for them to lose so they can get hashtag tank for Trevor. And Trevor Lawrence is, yes, he's a good player, but I mean, they kind of, I don't know if they just screwed themselves out of the first pick or what, but the Browns, I mean, I don't care about they're missing Landry and, some of their top receivers, but you have two running backs that are pretty good too, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. But back to the Jets, for the number 2 pick, I mean, do you go Justin Fields? Do you look into that? But by the way that the Ohio State quarterbacks have been going, maybe not. I mean, that's another thing to think about. But I think they're in a position that it's a tough position. I mean, there used to be when the Vikings, had the McNabb year. Basically, McNabb couldn't throw a ball to save his life, but people wanted the Vikings to suck for luck, and they got the 3rd pick or something because they drafted Matt Khalil. But again, I mean, the thing is the Jets could be a team that is really smart or really dumb, and I'm leaning more towards dumb because I mean that organization has been a wreck, especially when Rex Ryan left. But and that was kind of a mess towards the end. But I mean, Adam Gase I feel like should have been fired weeks ago, and I think again they're on the track of losing all the games, but I think they believe Darnold's the guy. So I could see them going another position too, but they got to make a lot of moves before they're going to be competitive again. So we'll see. But I'd probably say I guess it's got my stamp of approval because it's giving the guys some confidence. I mean, 2 straight wins. I mean, hey, that's not bad. That gets the confidence up, and guys are playing hard. So there's that. So what do you think, Voldy?
I think obviously the best place that they can go right now with that number 2 pick, they got to draft a non-quarterback. I think Sam Darnold could. I can't believe I'm even saying this.
Whoa.
I think Sam Darnold, with confidence, him being healthy, I think he could be a pretty decent player. The fact that obviously it's New York and quarterbacks haven't fared too well the last few years there. He's going to have to be the guy, and he's going to have to prove himself. And when fully healthy, we'll see what happens. It's just been the coaching and the front office that's just let down the Jets for a few years as well. I mean, the route that you want to go, do you want to improve on defense? Do you want to go offense? It's really all hard to say, but I think it's just funny overall that the Jets, 3 weeks ago were saying, we're in the driver's seat. We're going to get that number 1 pick. And then all of the sudden is just going down, down, down.
Yeah.
But I think it's just funny that the Jets are just, they're playing for that number 2 pick. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, so I want to get back to some of our zoners here. Davis Delaram, appreciate you tuning in, my man. The Jets' main issue isn't the QB play. They need a new coach and address problems in the trenches. And exactly. And that's the big thing. And there's got to be some pieces that need to be moved. And there are some guys that, Pat Elflein's on that team. Did you even know that? That's crazy.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Pat Elflein's on the Jets,
hilarious.
and he's starting for the Jets. So, not saying he's completely terrible, but, he was bad for some games. But, again, they got to look in the trenches. Davis is 100% right on that, and they need a new coach. Adam Gase cannot be their head coach because I feel like Adam Gase is just... He's a terrible head coach. I'm saying it right now. Watch the Jets ownership bring Gase back because he got them winning at the end of the year. They probably will. And you know what? If they do that, then, hey, if I get proven wrong, I get proven wrong. I'll do an apology segment on this show if that's the case. But he is not a good head coach, and he has proven not to be a good head coach. And he is a bona fide offensive coordinator, and I think we can all agree on that. Saying hi to my Aunt Deb. Hey, Deb, thanks for tuning in. So anyway, I just think the Jets are going to out-Jets themselves, like we're saying here in the lower third. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, with the college football playoff semifinals taking place, at least for one of them coming up tomorrow evening, one of them features a team that is a 20-point underdog against a perennial power, that being the number 4 seeded Notre Dame Fighting Irish against the number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, of course, earlier this week, asking Coach Brian Kelly for Notre Dame, asking about, their unfortunate luck in the BCS and also the college football playoffs, saying that, he said that the Irish have nothing to prove going up against Alabama once again. Well, in the recent history, especially against Alabama, playing for a national championship back in 2013, how about a 42-14 loss with probably the best Irish team that was at that time, led by the fighting, Manti Te'os of Notre Dame. Then 2 years ago, the Irish, well, they took a 30-3 loss on the chin to the then soon-to-be national champion, that being the Clemson Tigers, in the college football playoffs semifinals in the Cotton Bowl as well. Given the recent history of Notre Dame and, of course, them trying to be the powerhouse program that they've always been, is it absurd or prove that the Irish, quote, have nothing to prove against Alabama?
Oh, it's absurd. You have everything to prove in this game. You went out and you beat Clemson this past year, right? So why would you go into this game thinking they have nothing to prove? You have everything to prove. Now, the Fighting Irish, there's a lot of, Fighting Irish fans that I know, and they need to understand that they're not up to par with these type of teams like Alabama, Clemson. A little bit of Ohio State, but Ohio State, you never know, because they've always struggled in the college. I mean, they've won it, for sure, because they were a really good team back then. But right now, Ohio State, when they get to the college football playoff, it's just something when they take on the SEC team, or like Clemson or something like that. And they have everything to, and it's only one team gets to celebrate at the end of the year. Kelly's saying, we're going to keep banging and we're going to keep getting back there, and that's our job.
Yeah, okay.
That's our challenge each and every year, to compete for a national championship, and we'll continue to do that. And I'm not saying, I want to be fair about this, okay? They're not a complete dud of a team. I don't believe that. I mean, I don't necessarily, but I look at this compared to Alabama and Clemson, and I think they're no match. And the reason why that I feel like that they beat Clemson earlier in the year is because Trevor Lawrence wasn't playing, for one. But Clemson still has a good team after that, so win's a win. But then they play Clemson again, and it probably won't go well. So that's something to think about too. But they're a 20-point underdog against Alabama, so. Yeah, I think it's absurd that he thinks, we got nothing to prove. You got everything to prove here, Brian Kelly. Sorry. What do you think, Voldy?
Let me throw some numbers at you
Sure.
And confirm why Brian Kelly is absurd. Since the BCS came into play in 1998, Notre Dame this will be their 7th appearance in a BCS or New Year's Six bowl game when the BCS began. The Irish are 0-6. They've been outscored by a total of 144 points in those 6 games going into their 7th game. You have everything to prove. There are teams that are playing in mid-major conferences that are playing much better in BCS bowl games than you are. Boise State could probably beat Notre Dame in a BCS bowl game if they wanted to right now. I shouldn't say right now, but historically, given the fact that they have been a team that has, prided themselves on going out and being the best, competing for national titles. You haven't done anything in the last half century to do that. They haven't done – this is back when they're winning national championships off newspaper writers choosing a national champion. This is how it goes nowadays. You got to go out there. You get the guys that you want to win a national championship and go and win. Yes, we all know Alabama and Clemson are going to be the ones fighting at the top. You want to put yourself back in that spotlight, you're going to have to go out there and do that. Number 4 seed going up against number 1, a 20-point underdog. You got to go out there and you just got to be able to compete. Are they going to get the floor cleaned out of them? Yes. I would be more than pissed to lose to Alabama at any point if the seeds were flopped whatsoever. You got to go out there. You got to hate that other team that you're playing against, and you got to prove to yourself, if you don't win, you are nothing. You are less than nothing as well. I think it's absurd that Brian Kelly would say, oh, we've got nothing to prove. It's completely absurd.
Like, dude, you have everything to prove in this game. I mean, for one, too, when they went to the national championship and they thought, oh, this was Notre Dame's year, they got killed by Alabama.
He could be fired by this. If they lose this game, I would be nothing but surprised if he gets fired.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, that's true.
He literally hasn't done anything.
He took them to that one national championship, and that was the Manti Te'o year, okay? So think about that. And
they got them a turf field. That's basically it.
There you go.
They got them a deal with Under Armour. That's basically it.
There you go. So, yeah, we both think it's absurd. Zoners, what do you think? Obviously, give us your thoughts as well on that. And, that's just how it is. We'll see what happens. If Alabama kills them, it might be time to say bye-bye. So, we'll see.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we go to Major League Baseball. One team is making all the right moves this offseason, as it is the San Diego Padres, making some big-time moves to solidify their starting rotation and also pick up a little bit of help with the offense as well. Now, it was the San Diego Padres that did announce earlier this week that they did reach a deal with the Tampa Bay Rays, team that was in the World Series this past year, to pick up the likes of pitcher, that being Blake Snell. Blake Snell, a former Cy Young winner with the Tampa Bay Rays. Nice little piece there. Yeah, you can build some guys around that with the rotation. Not only did they pick up Blake Snell, they also picked up another prized free agent, Yu Darvish. Now, this guy is good. Got him from the Chicago Cubs, on a guy that's kind of revitalizing his career a little bit. Did get his personal catcher as well from the Cubs, and it is a really good couple of deals. And they also pick up a guy from Korea as well, Ha-Seong Kim, Korean infielder. Of course, kind of help out a little bit in a couple certain areas. I think he might be a middle infielder guy, maybe a second baseman. But, pretty solid with the bat. Young guy, 25 years old. One of the top infielders on the market. I mean, there are a lot of great options to help out, of course, with Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado as well. So, I mean, that infield's a little bit crowded right now, but I'm sure he'll find a place and maybe solidify himself in a position, or at least, be a nice guy off the bench. Sure to approve the moves being made by the San Diego Padres this offseason.
It's got my stamp of approval. And you know what, Voldy, and I hate to compare this again, but it's what the Twins aren't doing. Right. The Padres are going out and they're getting pitching! They are getting pitching, okay? They are getting star pitchers on their team. They have Snell. They now have Yu Darvish. I mean, come on. If you don't understand by now, this is what you have to do. If you're on the doorstep, you gotta, as Voldy likes to say, you gotta kick it in, you gotta kick it down, everything. You just boom, kick it. But that's what the Padres are doing, zoners, is that they are taking a chance with this team because Tatis, and now, you grab Yu Darvish, who also had a pretty productive season as well. He's in the middle of his $126 million contract that he signed before the 2018 season. So, I mean, Yu Darvish has been a force, and I think he's a guy that's going to, produce for this team. And you got to look at the Padres now and say, yep, That's a World Series contender because they have the pieces in place. The thing is you got to go out and execute because we've seen some super teams and, they haven't done well. Not saying that this is a complete super team. I'm just saying, like you said, it's a crowded infield, like you said, Voldy. So it's got my stamp of approval because they're going out and they're saying, hey, we're coming, okay? And you guys better watch out. So I give a lot of credit to their general manager, AJ Preller. I mean, he's gone out there and he's been wheeling and dealing. And, hey, when you got a guy like Tatis, you need to add some more pieces. And they added pitching. And that's what you need to do in this sport of baseball. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I kind of liken this to a situation that San Diego went through. I think it was almost 10 years ago now that they went out, they made all the moves. They traded, they signed free agents, gave them huge contracts as well. Some of the names still escape me, but I think one for sure, Derek Norris, who had an all-star couple of years in Oakland, ends up signing with the likes of with the Padres. Then he does nothing. I think Edwin Jackson signed in San Diego that year. There were like 4 guys that they signed that offseason or brought in, and they were just complete duds in San Diego. So I'm hoping for AJ Preller and for the Padres' sake that this isn't a repeat of that, but I feel like there's more core to the Padres. Now, you do have the likes of Manny Machado. You do have the, of course, the phenom, that being Fernando Tatis Jr. You've got a couple of guys staying with it. If somebody can stay healthy in that starting rotation, we already know Mike Clevenger is going to be out for the year as well. Mm-hmm. He had to have elbow surgery. But, there are a lot of promising young players coming up for the Padres, especially in that starting rotation. I think it's completely approved, especially when you get 2 guys that are at the top of their game, and especially guys that were competing for Cy Youngs. I mean, we already talked about how Blake Snell won the Cy Young recently, and now he was, near the top as well. Yu Darvish had a real comeback year with the Cubs. I mean, those guys are always going to be competing, at least as long as they stay in the league. So, I mean, they've solidified that rotation, and absolutely, it's the moves that the Twins aren't making. But, when you've got ownership behind you, and you've got money to burn and you want to throw it out as soon as that you bring it in.
Bingo. Yeah.
Kind of helps when you can make moves like that, but it's completely approved that, the Padres are out there making all those moves to, have a little something going in next year.
Yeah, and it's if these guys can stay healthy, too. And I think, for one, Yu Darvish has definitely had his fair share of injuries. And obviously with Snell, what happened in the World Series was a complete and utter travesty of him being pulled out and whatnot because of the whole sabermetrics thing like the Twins like to put together. That's a whole nother. But, I mean, the Padres, they're a team that are surging right now. Watch out. They're going to be good. So, anyway, last one, Voldy. Let's get to it.
This one caught me completely off guard, and I had to read it about 3 or 4 times for it to make sense. But we've only got a few words to say. John Football is back. That's formerly known as Johnny Football. Johnny Manziel has agreed to resume his playing football career with a startup league called Fan Controlled Football. If it sounds ridiculous, it kind of is. The league is scheduled to begin in February with 7-on-7 games where fans set rosters, call plays, interact in a blend of traditional and esports environments. Now, going on a little bit forward about how things are kind of laid out, the teams are going to play a 6-week schedule that will have games live streamed on Twitch and a league leased from a league leased facility in Atlanta. So basically kind of like the spring league that they do down in Texas. The games will last about an hour, and the field will be about 50 yards by 35 yards with 10-yard end zones. Players will have backgrounds in college, Division I, Division II, along with CFL, XFL, and indoor football league experience. The fan-controlled football league is recently received commitment from also another former player, former Florida State and Hampton quarterback DeAndre Francois. among other notable names that have kind of hitched their name to this league as well. But this is absurd or approved. Johnny Football, back playing football where he belongs.
Before we get to that, I got to mention one thing, too. Jimbo, okay? We have sweatshirts, people. I know I usually do this at the end of the show, but we should let people know. Johnny Football could use, or excuse me, John Football. John Football. Might want to get a MinneZona sweatshirt. They're only $40, $5 shipping. I ordered one for Papa Callahan from Jimbo. You guys can too. You talk to Jimbo, me, Voldy, the Kerf Doctor. We'll get you set up. So make sure you get your sweatshirts. They're awesome. So, but let's get back to John Manziel. Oh boy. You know, John Manziel is one of a kind. He's one of a kind. And I got the jersey back there, his old Cleveland Browns jersey. But I am actually rooting for John Manziel in this league. And the reason why is because I think he does miss it, but I think he agreed that he wasn't cut out for all this stuff with the NFL. I mean, he was kept under a microscope. He was doing some pretty dumb things. There's a lot of things I could have put in that. But John Manziel is a guy that he wants to have free reign. He wants to have free reign. And he's having fun with his... I follow him on Instagram just because I got to see, what kind of stuff he's up to. And... yeah, he's up to some interesting stuff. I mean, he's out partying and hanging out with his buddies, and I feel like this is kind of more of a relaxed kind of environment, apparently, with this new league that he started, the fan-controlled football. So I think he misses the game. It's just, I think what it is he doesn't want to put in the work like he would in an NFL league. And, it's sad because I think... in college football, when he was in college football, he was great. And the thing is, if he stuck with it and he actually gave a damn and played well, he could have been good. But no, he decided to go and do a lot of drinking and partying and everything like that. But John Football, I can't wait to see what happens. I got to see how he plays. I mean, the thing is I could see him throwing like 4 interceptions like he did in the Canadian Football League. But let's see what happens. I'm happy for him. I think, he needs something to, hang his hat on. So it's got my stamp of approval that he's back, but for how long? That's my question. Exactly. So, Voldy, what do you think?
It's got my stamp of approval. I just want to see what he's going to go out there and do. I mean, he did play competitively in the now defunct AAF and whatever train wreck that was when it was a thing within itself. But obviously, if he's just going to go out there and he's just going to do what he does and just kind of goof around the whole time, since the league did fold back in 2019, he's living in Arizona, plays golf, throws the football in the backyard with his friends, and watches football. So he's doing something apparently. Let's just see how it all turns out. I just hope he doesn't hurt himself. That's the main thing. I mean, there's going to be guys out there who are going to try and use this as a jumping off point to maybe try to get into the NFL or try to play somewhere even more competitive than the CFL, the XFL, and even the indoor league as well. But obviously the NFL is the main goal. I'd like to see how it turns out. It's got my stamp of approval.
Yeah, I just it's going to be entertaining, and I think I'm going to keep calling him Johnny just because I still think it's easier to say. It's easier to say. John Manziel. I mean, yeah, it's kind of fun with that, but hey, you know what? He's on the list because he had he had his chance and he blew it. But again, as long as he's doing so, I mean, he's 28 years old. He's still relatively young in a way, but. He said, too, life gives you opportunity sometimes to do something that you would still like to do if it was in a different capacity. So, good for John Manziel. Exactly. Good for John Manziel. All right, I think that will do it for A this week. Great job, Voldy, as always. And I think it's time to get to Shield shoutouts. We got some great great shout-outs here for tonight. So let's get it going with some Shield shout-outs.
Shield Shoutouts.
All right, as always, Voldy, who are you shouting out tonight?
Well, we definitely just want to start off and say, since we won't talk to you until a new year comes our way, we want to wish you all a happy, healthy, and safe New Year's. May 2021 be a year that was much better than we started off last year as well. And, of course, we just do want to remind you to remember what is most important. Be a good person to those who need it most, especially with still so much uncertainty in the world. We do want to wish you all happy New Year's as well. Moving forward, of course, this past week was Christmas. And, well, let's just say Santa was good to the Shield as well. I should say Santa being Mrs. Sarah Ann Tuesvold, a MinneZona Sports Live creative consultant. And it had a nice little surprise gift as well. If you're wondering, is this hat going to fit me? Well, unfortunately, it's not for me.
No.
For the little one on the way, for the little Shield, if you want to put it that way. Nice little tiny Patriots hat that it's going to be sitting here over in the corner until the little guy is ready to show his head into the world as well. But he's going to be ready to cheer the Pats on to victory. So I got to give a big Shield shout out to the missus for the awesome, amazing Christmas present well.
Love it.
That's awesome. I know. There's a couple other cool things in here, too, in the corner. We'll let those be as they are. But do have to give a Shield shout-out to former Vikings wide receiver, Concordia Cobber, New London Spicer High School alum, Brandon Zylstra, scoring his first NFL touchdown for the Carolina Panthers this past week on special teams. Nice fumble recovery for a touchdown. Now, that's certainly one way to get onto the score sheet as well, because one certain other player did score his first NFL touchdown on a block punt that did lead to a touchdown against Carolina. That's just so happened to be Adam Thielen. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. Hopefully it's bigger and better things for Brandon Zylstra. Who knows, maybe someday he'll wear purple again. We're keeping our fingers crossed for the future. Do also have to close out Shield shoutouts this week on, I guess maybe some happy, some sad news, but happy trails to longtime Boston Bruins defenseman and captain Zdeno Chara, who is officially leaving the black and gold, I should say, for the Boston Bruins, and putting on red and white for the Washington Capitals, signing a one-year deal, going to the enemy of all the teams that Zdeno Chara could have signed for. Why did it have to be the Capitals? Now the Capitals have to do their part and win the Stanley Cup so Zdeno Chara can retire as a Stanley Cup champion. Two-time. Did win with the Bruins back in 2011, but if this is the last ride for Chara, it has to be with the Stanley Cup. There are no other questions about it. That's going to do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Oh man, that's just that's
and
too much fun.
Too much fun.
I'm playing a soundbite for the old Shield shoutouts, so that kind of distracted me. But anyway, Voldy, great shoutouts as always. And before we wrap up the show, I want to let the zoners know. Jimbo kind of mentioned this towards the end here, but we need to show this again. Sweatshirts. Get your MinneZona sweatshirts. $40, $5 shipping. You buy this stuff, it helps pay for this internet. And to make sure that we give you MinneZona Sports Live. And I've ordered mine for Papa Callahan. And you throw yours in, and hey, you know what? You're gonna get it going. But we not only have MinneZona sweatshirts, we have shirts as well. If you're still looking for a t-shirt, we still have more t-shirts. So if you guys want to get going on that, and again, we got the stickers. So hey, we got a lot going on. So make sure you get all your merch. Look at all that. I mean, gosh, the bumper stickers, the window decals, the mini bumper stickers, and then the actual stickers as well. So check those out. And congratulations. I can't believe I'm saying this to former intern guy, Trevor Service. Yeah. I know, Voldy. It pains me. But he got it right. He missed the first time, but he didn't miss on the second time. So that's
even a blind squirrel finds a nut
there
once in a while.
There you go. All right, but anyway, moving on to the next thing. Q&A Thursdays. We're back this week for Q&A Thursday, so make sure you head over to the Instas and check us out. Ask us questions. I'll get it set up for everybody so then we can answer your questions, give you, the people, the zoners, the forum, like we do here, to give your opinions or ask questions, things like that, because we got nothing else to do besides actually, do our day jobs and whatnot. Because we got to do that. We got to make money. But anyway, moving on to W2 Performance. Before I get into that, a big congratulations to Will Rattel getting married. Yeah! Will Rattel is now hitched. I didn't know that they were getting married, and, congratulations. And we got to have Will on again because I think we got some scores to settle. Especially with the red pepper. And not only that, we got to hear the Matt Ryan story, and not from the phone. We got to have a visual and him telling us that story. So a lot about that. But make sure you check out W2 Performance. A new episode is out for the Barbell Nerds with Will Rattel. And for one, too, he's got stickers. They're $2. Check it out. I have mine. I don't know what I want to put this on. It's got to be a water bottle, I think, Voldy. So I'll make sure I get that going for our good friend Will. So make sure you check out W2 Performance, share, subscribe on YouTube, all that fun stuff. And then another person we got to give shout-outs to is, like Voldy was showing, the bumper stickers, all Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson. Shout out to you for getting us these. They look fantastic, and hey, you never know when we're going to do another giveaway. So make sure you're checking us out. So, and then make sure you check out Jack O'Keefe's show, Jack's Junkyard. I believe his season 2 is going to be coming in a little bit. But make sure you check out his past episodes. We were featured not too long ago as well. So make sure you check that out too. So, anyway, great job today, Voldy. We had a great show. We had a giveaway winner, even though it's former intern guy. We'll let it slide. But again, we fired him because, again, he didn't show up. He's not here. He's not getting me, my water or anything like that. So maybe we'll hire him back. And never mind. Actually, we won't.
Very doubtful.
Very doubtful. So, but anyways, as always, zoners, thanks for tuning in. And again, we appreciate everything that you guys have been doing, and we know 2020 has been a rough year, but hey, we're approaching the 1-year anniversary of MinneZona Sports Live, so make sure that you're tuning in because we got some stuff planned, okay? Got some stuff planned, so keep tuning in. So, but anyway, without further ado, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.